Hello class 10. Welcome to the online tutorial sessions for economics. I am Avnash Lambert, your economics guru, and today we are going to continue our second chapter, which is sectors of the Indian economy. In today's video we are going to know about the historical changes in the sectors of a economy. Now, if we talk about before independence, 100 years ago, at that time the primary sector was the most important sector in the India. So during that time, most of the people, around 80 to 85% people, were indulged in agricultural activities. Now, what happened when the British take over India? Then at that time, Britishers forced India to remain in the agricultural sector, to remain in the primary sector. They did not improve Indians, they did not build Indians so that they can participate in the secondary sector. They forced Indians so that Indians remain under the primary sector. But after the Britishers went back and India got independence, we managed to evolve from the primary sector and took over the secondary or tertiary sector. So let's understand the historical changes. If we talk about 1973 to 1974, during that time, the primary sector had 40% of its GDP. The primary sector was producing 40% of the total GDP in India, and the secondary sector was producing only 12%, and the remaining 48% was taken over by the tertiary sectors. All these services which the government has to take care of, like hospitals, education, and your police stations, defense, municipal corporations. So all these stuff was very important, and therefore tertiary sector also had the 48% of its GDP which was coming from the tertiary sector, and the primary sector was 40% and the secondary sector was 12%. Now, in the year 2013 and 2014, what we had the total GDP, under which that 100% of the GDP, 12% was coming from primary sector. Only 12% of production was done in the primary sector and 20% in the secondary sector, and the biggest portion of the GDP was produced by the tertiary sector. So from this graph we came to know that tertiary sector has increased a lot. We are more dependent on the tertiary sector instead of the primary sector. However, the production in all the sectors have increased, but the portion of tertiary sector has increased much more. It have increased so much that it beat down the primary sector. Now, initially in the starting stage, India was under the primary sector. Most of the India was under the primary sector. It was a major sector. India was basically under the primary sector. But as agriculture prospered, as agriculture developed in India, production also increased. We have increased the agriculture, our condition became better, so our production also increased, and other activities like trading, selling and buying, craftsmanship increased. Because we were increasing our production, trade started, selling and buying started, and therefore these things increased, but mostly were employed in the primary sector. That increased, but most of the people were employed in the primary sector. Most of them were doing the agriculture, but the selling and buying started, the trading started. Now, after long time, after so much time, secondary sector finally developed, and people started working in the factories. From the work fields, from working in the fields, they shifted in the factories. So from primary sector, people came to the secondary sector. However, slowly in last 40 years, from the last 40 years, we are talking about 1973 to 1974, there is a shift from secondary sector to tertiary sector, because production has increased in all the sectors but mostly in tertiary sector, and tertiary sector has become the largest producing sector in India. Is that clear? Tertiary sector has become the largest producing sector in India. That is the most important sector of India. Tertiary sector. That could be your 1 mark question also. Which is the largest producing sector in India? Tertiary sector. However, production has increased in all the sectors, but tertiary sector is the leader. From the past 100 years, 40 years, we have shifted from primary and secondary sector to tertiary sectors. And this is your graph. In the 2013 to 14, 12% was produced by the primary sector, 20% was produced by the secondary sector, and 68% was produced by the tertiary sector. Now let's come to the reasons why tertiary sector has become so popular that it is producing the largest amount of production in our country. Let's understand that. Now students, let's continue our topic. Let's understand about the rising importance of tertiary sector in production. How tertiary sector became so important and how tertiary sector is rising in production. Now, first of all, basic services like schools, hospitals, banks, police, defense, municipality, and there are so many things, insurance, which are the basic services which the country must provide to its citizens. So these are the things which are provided by the government in India. That's why tertiary sector is most of the things are taken by the government sector, and therefore the production of tertiary sector is a lot more because government of India is providing the tertiary sector in these things. Now, second one, development of agriculture and industries. Because our agriculture and industries developed so much, that led to the growth of trade and transport. When we are producing much more in the primary and secondary sector, we need trade and transport. And due to that, because agriculture and industries become prosperous, we needed the trade and transport, and thus we increased our tertiary sector. The service sector became much more important due to the development of agriculture and industries. Now students, the third one is as income increased. When the people started to earn more money, when we started to earn much more money, then the people started to demand more services. It's obvious, when we are earning more, we want more things in our lives. We want some luxuries also. Like, you want to eat out at restaurants. Saturday evening, Papa, let's go to some restaurant and let's eat out. Now, shopping, tourism, these all were the things that were mostly demanded by the people. And because income has increased, people started to demand more services, and thus tertiary sector became important in our lives. Now also, rise in information technology, the internet. With the help of internet, the service sector has much more enhanced, it has more improved. Netflix, YouTube, and there are so many social networking sites. There are so many things which internet, the information technology has provided us. So that's why the tertiary sector has become so much important in the production in the country. So these are the reasons, these are the 4 reasons, you must learn it by heart. That is the rising importance of tertiary sector in production. Let's come to the next topic. Students, let's talk about the shares of sectors in employment. Suppose 100% people are employed, then in that 100%, if we talk about 1973 to 1974, in that time period, 74% of the people in India was employed, was doing some work in the primary sector. 11% people were working in the secondary sector, in the industries, and the remaining 15% were employed in the tertiary sector. But if we talk about 2013 to 2014, in that year, only 49% of people were working in the primary sector. See the difference. 73 to 74 we had 74%. But in the 2013-2014 that portion became this much, which is 49%. It has decreased. And the secondary sector has increased and the tertiary sector has increased. But still, if you notice, in the 2013-14, primary sector is still the highest employer in all the sectors. It has the maximum portion of 49% now, and it has the highest portion in the 1973-1974. But the portion has decreased, but still primary sector is the highest employer in all the sectors. Now, let's understand where are most of the people employed and why are they employed in that sector. See, the highest production is obviously done by the tertiary sector, but primary sector is still granting highest employment. Primary sector is generating most of the employment in the India. Now, agriculture has the highest number of workers. In fact, it has more than it is required, because in agriculture uneducated, unskilled people can also work, and those people cannot work in the secondary sector or tertiary sector. So they are the ones who opt for agricultural sector, the primary sector, because the qualification is the minimum. Therefore, agriculture has the highest number of workers. In fact, it has more than it is required. Suppose there are 100 people are required, 200, 300 people are there. So, agriculture is the highest number of workers. Tertiary sector requires skilled, trained and educated workers. Tertiary sector requires trained, skilled and educated workers. Therefore, it has not generated so much employment in the country. So, you understood the reason that tertiary sector requires skills, knowledge, training and education. That's why it has the lesser number of employment in comparison to the primary sector, where skills, knowledge is the least required. Understood? So these are the reasons and why and where are the most of the people employed. I hope you all have understood. Let's come to the last topic of this video. Let's complete our last two topics for this video. Basically, there are two types of unemployment which you need to learn in this chapter. So let's start with the first type of unemployment, which is underemployment. Now, underemployment means a person gets employment for few months. He gets the job for few months only or few days only and remains unemployed for the remaining few months. Suppose somebody is working for 4 months and he is not working, he is unemployed for the remaining 8 months. In that case, that person is underemployed. Now, beside this definition, there could be one more definition, which is if a person is working below its capacity or ability. If a person is not working up to his caliber. Suppose someone is there who can manufacture 100 tables in a week, but he is still manufacturing only 20 tables in a week, then that person is underemployed. That person can be used for greater things, but he is not being used for those things. Instead of, lesser work is being given to him and he is not completely doing this work according to his ability. Then if a person is working below its ability or its capacity, then also he is considered to be underemployed. Understood? Now, this type of underemployment, this type of employment could be there in any sector, that is, it could be in the primary, secondary or tertiary sector. There are so many things which are not required in few months or few days. So those people are not employed for the whole year, but still they are underemployed, or we can say that those persons are not used on a daily basis. For example, painters, they are not required daily. So for some days they remain in their shops. They are not working, but for some days they are used. So in that case, that is your underemployment. Now students, let's come to the last one, which is disguised unemployment. You all have understood this disguised unemployment in your class 9. But let's again revise it. It refers to a state. It's a condition in which more people are engaged in a given job than are actually needed. Suppose in a field, in a 2-hectare field, you need only 5 people to work. But instead of 5, there are 10 to 8 people are working in that field. So those extra 3 to 5 people who are working extra in the field, those people are disguisedly unemployment, because we need only 5 people but 8 people are working. So those extra 3 people are the disguised unemployed. And if some of them are withdrawn from that job, it will not lead to fall in the total output production. Suppose that field can produce 100 quintals of wheat. 100 quintals of wheat. But if 5 people can work, we can have the 100 quintals of wheat. But if 8 people are doing, then in that case also 100 quintals of wheat will be produced, because 5 people are sufficient for that. We don't need more than 5. But still we are employing 8 people, but the total production will remain the same because the land is same, the resources are same. Only the workers have increased. Their workload, their labor job will get divided into 3 more people, and thus the same work will be done and the same total of production will be there. So those extra 3 people will be disguised unemployment, because the amount, the profit, the earning, the income which they will earn, that will be divided into 5 people. But if 3 more people are there, they will get the share and they will lessen, they will decrease their profitability. So in that case, disguised unemployment is there. We need only 5 people but still extra people are working there. So that is not a good thing. That will not lead to any further increase in the production. Instead, the production will remain the same. That is the disguised unemployment, students. So I hope this is very clear to you. You have understood the shares of sectors in the GDP, shares of sector in the employment, and the types of unemployment, that is underemployment and disguised unemployment. So students, that's all for this video. Stay home, stay safe, and see you soon.